So I know it's Easter week, but I just wanted to share with you a little bit here about the announcement when Jesus is coming. Because we look at the crucifixion and the resurrection, and rightly so. I mean, it's that time when we do so, and I just wanted to share a little bit about the life of Christ. I hope to do a few videos and not be too long, but to talk a little bit about the life of Christ, especially a little later getting into those that came in contact with Jesus, those that had an encounter with him. Today, I want to look at a couple of verses. Luke chapter 1, verse 39 through 41 says, "At that time, Mary got ready, and she hurried to a town in the hill country of Judea, where she entered Zechariah's home and greeted Elizabeth. When Elizabeth heard Mary's greeting, the baby leaped in her womb, leapt, and Elizabeth was filled with the Holy Spirit." So you see, Mary heard the news from the angel. "You will conceive, you'll give birth to a son, you will call him Jesus. He's going to be great. He'll be called the Son of the Most High." And she probably couldn't believe that at first. I mean, can you blame her? An angel appears and says, "You're going to have a baby." She's a virgin. Was she dreaming? I mean, did she have some sour goat's milk? What's going on? How could this be possible? She must have felt unworthy and humbled all at the same time. And when the angel finally convinces her, there's a whole new set of circumstances. I mean, what's Joseph going to think? She's been unfaithful. Who's the father? How could you do this to me, Mary? And what would the people of the town think? Illegitimate bastard child. Mary goes to visit her relative Elizabeth, her cousin, and she's experiencing a miracle of her own. She is pregnant in her old age, and she's going to give birth to a boy named John, who's going to be the one that's going to prepare the way for Jesus. And when Mary visits Elizabeth to tell her the news, the baby within her leapt or leaps, and Elizabeth is filled with the Holy Spirit. When is the last time you leaped with joy? Was it that time in Little League Soccer when you made a goal, not realizing it was for the other team? Was it when you first learned to ride a bike? Was it high school graduation, your first kiss, the birth of your first child? Or has it been so long that you can't even remember what it's like to be excited and filled with joy? Has your heart been broken? Has your heart been broken so many times that you can't recall joy in your life? I mean, maybe you were once filled with hope and you were excited about life, but somewhere along the way, you were broken. And the joy that you once felt gave way to hopelessness and to doubt. Consider this. Between this event and the last time we have any recording of God at work amongst his people, 400 years have passed. For 400 years, people have been looking for God and probably thought they were forgotten, abandoned, and not loved. Have you been there? Has it been so long since you've experienced the joy of the Lord that you feel as though he's left, that he's forgotten you? Has it been so long since you've sensed his presence that you feel alone, that you feel that he's gone? Well, I have some news for you. You're not alone. Others have felt that way. But Jesus is here. He's the Messiah. Hopefully somewhere along the way, we're going to find this chance for Jesus to touch our lives. The story continues in Luke chapter 2. While they being Joseph and Mary, this is verse 6 and 7, while they were there, the days were completed for her to give birth. And she gave birth to her firstborn son, and she wrapped him in cloths, and she laid him in a manger because there was no room at the inn. The timing of the census couldn't have been more inconvenient, or should we say more perfect. It was prophesied that the Messiah was going to come from Bethlehem. Joseph and Mary made that journey from Nazareth to Bethlehem. It must have been quite a tiring journey for a young pregnant woman. And when they arrived, the local inn has this no vacancy sign on the door. And you can only imagine the thoughts going through the minds of Mary and Joseph as Mary says, Joseph, it's time. And rather than the comfort of a warm room, they settle for a cold stable. Now the stables aren't like the pretty little pictures that we see. They were typically a cave-like structure dug out of rock walls. It was cold and a dirty place. And that's surrounding the birth of the Messiah. The picture speaks volumes to us today. The lack of room at the inn is sadly often reflected in our own lack of room for Jesus to be born within our hearts. The cold and dirty stable reveals the cold and dirty world in which we live. The Messiah enters that cold, dark world with no servants attending to Mary, no pomp, no circumstance. He enters simply and even unexpectedly. And I wonder about our own lives. Do you and I have room for Jesus? Or do we have a no vacancy sign on our hearts? I wonder how many times I've pushed him aside into the stables rather than granting him residence within my heart, my life. Can I ask you a question real quick? Is your view of Jesus like the one of a Hallmark card? Think about that. The Christmas cards depict this beautiful picture of Mary and Joseph and little baby Jesus. And everything seems perfect. The nativity scenes in the yards depict this glowing baby Jesus. They're too perfect, too pretty, too safe, really. But the events surrounding what we like to refer to as the Christmas story are anything but safe. Herod gives the orders that all male children 2 years and younger are to be slaughtered. Why? Because this baby would change the world. Following Jesus is anything but safe. He calls us to a total life change. He turns our thinking upside down. He says, you want to be first? Be last. You want to be great? Be a servant. You want to gain your life? Then lose it. He's radical in his thinking, and he calls us to live a radical life if we choose to follow him. So, what are you thinking? What's your choice and what's your belief? Are you following Jesus? We'll be doing some more studies, hopefully throughout the day in the next several days of the life of Christ. But I appreciate you guys listening in. I'm praying for you all. I love you. If you need me to pray specifically for something, please feel free to send me a message. God bless.